What's up, Shred Sexies? Welcome back. Death to the Fingers. Some people, they really liked the arpeggio workout, so I thought I'd do another one here with scales, and then I'll fill in some of the blanks, if you will, with some audio here of the commentary. So there's not going to be a huge introduction here. Essentially, I'm asked often about how to arrange sort of practice exercises so that you get sort of more mileage out of it, get it to be more creative. So I threw together some just off the cuff here, and I hope you guys dig it. So no more chit chat. Let's get into this first exercise. All right, beauties, for this first one here, essentially all we're doing is ascending on the high E string using a G major scale. I start basically in the Locrian 3 notes per string position, and then I just ascend all the way up 1 octave, and then I just come right back down. Let's do it. All right, beauties, for the next section here, essentially we're doing the exact same exercise, but now I'm doing it on 2 strings. This is going to become pertinent later on because I start doing combinations of these either on 2 strings or just on a single string. That's why we're doing it now. But these are essential sort of building blocks for improvisation. So I'm just now ascending a G major scale, of course, on the high E and B string. And I do this cool little turnaround idea where I sort of, slide up to the next position or slide down to the next position. Make sure you practice that too. Let's do it. All right, Shred Sexies, in this next section, we turn up the heat a little bit. I'm starting basically on the G string, and I start ascending using the G major pentatonic. Now, the rule is anytime that there are 2 notes on the high E string, I'm going to fill in the 3rd note from the 3 notes per string pattern, of course, from G major. So I start adding in, of course, the Locrian position, then I move up, of course, to Ionian, and then I'm going to play down, coming down in Dorian pentatonic. I'm going to ascend Dorian pentatonic, move up 3 notes per string on the high E string to the next pentatonic position, in this case Phrygian, then start descending using just the pentatonic shape. And then, so I'm combining both 3 notes per string and the pentatonic shape until I get all the way to the high position at the Aeolian, which everyone knows and loves. And then, of course, what I do is just come down in a sequence. First, I do a group of 4 strings, and then I do a sequence of 6, so groups of 3, of course, and done deal. Mint. Let's get into it. All right, Shred Sexies, we're getting out of the kiddie pool now. So essentially this next one is an interval run using thirds. So I start the ascension in G major at the third fret. And then once I get to the high E string again, I use this sort of like ascending major scale using that little sort of 3-note sequence just on one string until we get to the Aeolian position, which I'm going to start my descending using thirds and whatnot. But when on the descent, I'm essentially now moving through multiple shapes. So I start in Mixolydian, then I move down to Lydian, then I move finally to Phrygian before ending on the root again. Nails it. This is a killer exercise, so make sure you practice it. Let's do it. All right, Shred Sexies, this next picking hellscape here essentially combines two ideas, but it's really a real brain buster, if you will. So essentially going to do string skipping using the minor pentatonic system, in this case G major, and then A Dorian, then B Phrygian, of course, D Mixolydian, finally E minor, or E Aeolian, back before you get to G major or G Ionian. But on the descent, you're going to play in the reverse order the major modes. So again, the Ionian position will pair up with Locrian, and I'll leave it up to you to sort of figure out the rest of them. And then, of course, you're going to play them instead of starting from the highest note and then going to the lower note, which is what we always do. We are now going to go in the reverse direction. I find it's very helpful. If you look in the video, you'll see me going to the next string with an upstroke for every single one of them. So that's what makes this exercise a little more easier, if you could say that, but this is an absolute finger destroyer and mind bender. So no more yip yapping. Let's get on this bad boy. All right, you shred beasts, I've saved the worst for last. This one will absolutely slaughter you. It's essentially 3-in-1 again, all in G major. So I'm starting in Locrian. I do 4 notes on the low E string, then 1 note on the A string, and then another 4 notes on the D string. Get me? Another 1 on the G string, 3 on the B string, and then 2 on the high E before I move into this, again, sort of function of the ascending using 3-note sequence on one string. And of course I do it much faster now just to sort of get the speed up. And then I move into a sequence of 5, combining the major and minor pentatonics at the Aeolian and Ionian position at the 12th fret. I'm ascending using a whole step pattern from the minor pentatonic. And then of course I do this minor 7 arpeggio with an interconnecting note. It's obviously an extended arpeggio, but we'll just call it the minor 7 for the sake of simplicity. And I just descend using this 3 octaves pattern until I get to the very root of the key again, back at the 3rd fret G, before I ascend using G major 7. Then I slide down to the Aeolian position and play that in the open position, right, as a scale, before finally ending with the big old G major, and then of course sliding up to that variation of G major as the G major 7, a whole step down, the 10th fret on the A string. So that's an incredibly complex lick and stuff like that. And the thing is that I'm talking to you about it now so that you can kind of marry up the lingo with what you're about to hear kind of situation, because that's a big step in your musical career. So enjoy the lick, just work at it slowly in parts. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. Good luck on your practice sessions. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.